Welcome back, my butterfly kaleidoscope to One Hook, Two Hands. This is Sarah, the creator behind One Hook, Two Hands, and today we are doing our first Queen-inspired square in our 6th series. If you are new here, welcome. I like to call my subscribers butterflies because butterflies bring me hope and joy, and kaleidoscope because that's what happens when butterflies land and take off. If you are new here and you like this video, feel free to flutter on down to that like button. And if you really enjoy this video and want to see more or even the rest of this series, feel free to hit that subscribe button. As I said before, my name is Sarah, and each of the designs for this series are ones that I have created on my own. I've been crocheting for 20-something years now, and I am excited to bring you this square. For those of you who don't know, The Six is a Broadway musical that originally started on the O2. And it goes through kind of telling you the story in a really creative, fun way, but of more information about each of Henry VIII's wives. Now, we've seen some stuff out there, but there was a lot more to these women than typically gets around, so I really enjoy this musical because they have a fun way of layering all the different things into this musical. The idea is that they've all 6 been chosen to be in a girl group, but that they are now auditioning to be the lead singer of that group. And so they each kind of come forward and make their case through song. And obviously that's going to start with Catherine of Aragon. Now, I am going to try and layer through these videos some information about each of the queens because I am a history buff amongst other, as well as a science buff, guys. But part of the reason I'm also doing this is because August is Granny Square Awareness Month, and August is my birth month. So I want to kind of do this interesting challenge that I was given for Granny Square Month because I love Granny Squares. And so today we are going to be doing the Catherine of Aragon Square. Now, if you've seen the musical, you know her dress has a lot of these, especially the bodice has a lot of these diamond pattern work in it. Guys, obligatory yawn bingo, and I am so sorry. Okay, but it has a lot of these diamonds, and it's kind of this layered where they get bigger as you go. And then also, she has a really cool crown that has spikes off of it. I couldn't figure out how to make a spike that stayed well enough in this yarn, but I did want to kind of include that allusion to her crown that she wears, so I did this circle. And because of her history, she was also a part, we'll get a little more into it later, but she was a part of the Lancaster side of England as well, not just Spain. So it's kind of referencing our Tudor Rose a little bit. If you've not seen this pattern, which was the first one in the series, I will have the link down below. I do encourage you to go back and watch that. But I had a lot of fun making that square as well as this one. So we're going to get started. If you are new, I have been using the Yarn Art Manhattan. The numbers are, I don't have the numbers on this one list. I'm using the black with a silver shiny thread through it and the gold. So one of the things I like about Yarn Art Manhattan is it's one of those tubular yarns, which you can kind of see here. And basically they shoot the fibers, oops, sorry guys, I did not mean to shake you. They shoot the fibers through the tube and it comes out so you get this nice little halo. So the halo is intended. It is a pull. It is a polyamide and a wool blend. Guys, good night. I'm trying here. Okay. I will get it, but this is the black and I really like it, and it was really hard to find a yarn that worked really well for their costumes, but this if you just look at a picture or like the thumbnail that I put up for this video and you look in the corner and see their picture, I mean, this looks like the material of their costumes, which I just love. And then there's this gold color, and you can kind of see it's kind of the same thing, but it's got the tube is a little bit more clear in this part, and you've got the gold sparkle running through. So these are the two colors we're using. And for this one, I'm still using the G 4mm Clover & More hook. I've never seen one that doesn't have a purple grip, but I don't know if there is some out there. But this is a purple grip one. You will also need your scissors and your yarn needle. So have those nearby. And let's get started. So first up, for our first row in a magic ring, we are going to do 6 single crochets, and you are going to be using the black color for this. So if you've never done a magic ring before, I like to always show this. I like to do it this way. Put the yarn over my 2 fingers, and I pinch in between, pull the yarn up around, pinch under my thumb, pop off. Now, I like to do standing stitches in it to start my magic ring. So I like to yarn. So we're doing a single crochet. So we're going to make a standing single crochet in our magic ring. So I've got the yarn in this hand, holding it underneath my hook. I yarn over to get that first loop on there, go into the ring. I pinch and hold that, yarn over, pull up a loop. Now we've got 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through, and there's our first single crochet. Now we need 5 more. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that should be 6. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Now you're going to pull this tight, and this is where this yarn does kind of like try to attach itself because of the wool, guys. So it does, when you pull the magic ring, it's gonna feel like you're tearing yarn. You're not tearing yarn, but it's gonna feel like it a little bit because of how it kind of attaches itself to each other. It looks really pretty, right? And so in case you have any trouble seeing your first stitch, you can count backwards, like I just did, and push through. It is a black yarn, guys, so again, the silver does help on this. Sorry. So use a lot of light when you're making these, just to keep your eyes safe. But you're going to slip stitch into this first single crochet. Yay! We have completed the magic ring. Now you're going to chain 2. This does not count as a stitch in your patterns. This does not go into any count that you have. Now you're going to do 2 half double crochets in this stitch. So you're going to yarn over, go into your stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop. You got 3 on the loops on the hook. Now you're going to yarn over and pull through. That's a half double crochet. You're going to do 1 more in the same stitch. Pull through. And now you are going to do 2 in each around. So you should have 5 more that you need to do. Be back momentarily. Alright guys, we're back to all the way around. So you should have 12 half double crochets, 2, 4, 6, 10, and 12. Now you are going to slip stitch into the first half double crochet. You are going to skip the chain 2 that you made. You're going to slip stitch into this top of this And there we go. So I'm going to try to give you guys some information about each of the queens as we go as well. And so I'll be telling you a little bit as soon as we start this next row. Now you are going to chain 2. Now we are going to start to set up our where we are going to end up connecting these, and you'll see what I mean as we go, because we're going to do back loop only stitches in this round, so that we're creating this row right here, but it's going to give us the ability to make this little diamond. So the way that we do that is you're going to do 2 half double crochets in the next back loop, and then do 1 half double crochet in the next. So what that looks like is like this one right here. We're going to do 2. Oh, that's right. Because we're doing, I meant to tell you something earlier, guys. Because of we are doing back loop only, you're going to slip stitch into the back loop only here. Chain 1, 2. Now you're going to do 2 half double crochets here. 1, and then you're going to do 1 here. So this will give you 18 when you're done. And the cake is really tight, so it just decided it was not going to. And it decided to yarn burf on me, of course, because this yarn likes to, kind of felt like one was coming, get attached. Which, I mean, feels pretty appropriate, because Catherine of Aragon really had to prove her loyalty and attachment to Henry over the time. So, if you don't know, Catherine of Aragon was born the 16th of December, 1485, and died January 7th of 1536. And during that time, she was actually born under the name Catalina because she was from Spain. She was the daughter of Ferdinand and Isabella, who were 2 joint rulers over 2 of the most massive regions of Spain, and whose lands weren't supposed to unite through until they were through their children. But as long as they were living, it wouldn't be united. And that does come to play a little bit in Catherine actually getting married to Henry VIII. She was born with red hair. She was originally supposed to be married to Henry's younger brother Arthur. You might know that. She did marry him, or not his younger brother, his older brother Arthur, who was crown prince at the time. Guys, I told you my brain is just bleh on these antibiotics, but it's better than it was off of them. They got married in like November of 1501, and Arthur was dead by the 2nd of April 1502. Like, bless her heart, this lady. And they had never really lived together, so it's like they didn't even have a chance to really spend any time together during that time. And most of that time, Arthur was really sick. So, I mean, it's a miracle that he lived long enough for her to marry him, let alone everything else. But literally, they were only married for about 5 months. And like I said, most of that, they weren't even in the same castle, let alone the same town. So, it's kind of crazy. But upon his death, she became the first female recorded ambassador, and she was the ambassador from the Aragonese crown to England, which was a big deal because it didn't last the entire time she wasn't married. It only was from 1502 to 1507 because essentially they weren't going to negotiate her marriage to the new crown prince, which was Henry, who would become Henry VIII, with her. They weren't going to negotiate her marriage with her, and that was part of the ambassador's job. So the last 2 years, it didn't happen. However, they would get there. But yeah, but she still had 7 years where she was considered the ambassador, which was a big deal back in the time, especially given her age. And so, bless her heart, she gets through all these hardships. There's a lot of things going on between her father and Henry's father. Things are going back and forth. They keep trying to push it. And they tried to ban her from even seeing Henry during that time. So there's just a lot going on, essentially preventing them from trying to even get married. But then Henry VII dies. Henry becomes king. He gets married to her 2 weeks before the coronation. So she gets married to Henry VIII on the 11th of June, 1509, and ends up coronated in a joint ceremony with him on the 24th of June, 1509. And she ended up being the Queen of England from then until the 23rd of May, 1533. And she would die on January 7th, 1536. So there were 3 years of her life that, even though she was the lawful wife of Henry VIII and still Queen of England, from a law perspective, if you will, it was considered by edict of the king she wasn't, which was kind of interesting because the laws and facts didn't back it up, but he just kind of forced it. Which, was partially out of an act of desperation, partially out of lust, but we'll get there. So we've completed this third round. So we did our single crochets, right? Then we did our half double crochets for 12, and then we did 2 and 1 in the back loops only, and that's important. You can kind of see it where it's gotten this front ridge. You're going to need that front ridge in the row coming up, so it's important. Also, we will be carrying yarn in this, so just be ready. Now, you are going to slip stitch fully into that first half double crochet, not the chain 2, the first half. Now, you're going to chain 1. Again, it doesn't count as a stitch. And you're going to single crochet in the next stitch. This is where we're going to start to carry our yarn. Grab your gold. Oh, you shouldn't have pulled all the way through on that. Excuse me. We're going to change yarn color here, so yarn over, pull through to complete that single crochet, pull that tight. Then you're going to come here with this little piece and anchor it, because again, trust me, I do not want anything unraveling, so I am securing like I always do. Now then, for the next bit, we're going to yarn over this black as we carry it, that's what carry your yarn means. Let's see. So we are going to do what I call a chain 1 cross double crochet into the front loops of the previous row. What that looks like, the chain 1 cross double crochet is you're going to skip the next stitch. So we single crocheted in here, right, into this one. We're going to skip this one. So we single crocheted into here. We're going to skip this one. and we are going to double crochet. So when you look at that loop down here, we're going to skip that loop because that's where we would have been, right? You're going to come down here into this one, and you are going to double crochet. You're going to chain one, and then you're going to double crochet in the skipped stitch, which is this one right here. Right? That's the one we skipped in the beginning at the base of the first stitch that we skipped. So you're going to cross it this way. You can already start to see the bottom of that diamond forming, right? Now then, you are going to okay. But on this last one, you need to change back to color A. I forgot that, so we're going to do that now. Change back to color A here. This will get really simple once you start seeing it. I'm just speaking out loud. It feels a little wonky. So then you are going to skip 2 stitches and single crochet in the next stitch. So we single crocheted here, right? We have a single crochet here. We're going to skip these 2. 1, 2, and we are going to single crochet here. Except I put the yarn under as I was trying to do this. We are going to get in the proper stitch and single crochet here, but we are going to switch it because we are going to change back to color B. All right. Yep, and basically you're going to repeat this around. So I'm going to do that one more time just so you can see. So we are going to do a cross chain 1 double crochet, which means you yarn over. You are going to skip, so we're skipping this stitch, and because we're skipping that stitch, I'm going to go here. You're going to chain 1. Now, because again, you're going through, quote, the skipped stitch, but that's still in here because it was this is where you're making your 2s. You are going to double crochet there, and then you're going to yarn, change color, and then you're going to come to the back. You're going to skip these 2, go into here, and single crochet, as long as you make sure you get in the actual stitch. And that's what this row is. Let's see. Getting back to Catherine of Aragon, she would have, like I said, after her father-in-law died, would marry Henry VIII on June 11th of 1509 at the age of 23, and then would be coronated 2 weeks later on the 24th. She was Queen of England until 1533, when he removed her her queenship and returned her to being a dowager crown princess, which that's a whole conversation in and of itself. And basically, she would end up dying 3 years later on the 7th of January, 1536. Anne Boleyn came into the marriage around 1525, which is a whole lot of fun because that meant Catherine had to live with this usurper in her marriage for. Hold on, I don't think I did that right. I think I skipped one too many. I'm going to undo this and redo. Give me 1 second. Because again, I think I skipped one stitch too many here somewhere along the way. So I want to go back. I know for here I didn't. That's where I did it. It was in. This stitch should land odd and a double. Yeah. I skipped this one. I did not do it correct. Basically, your single crochets are going to land in the single, and then your doubles are going to land are going to have the crossed chain one doubles. So one of my favorite quotes by her that I think is really good, and it kind of comes to play in the musical, is God never called me to a nunnery. I am the king's true and legitimate wife. I think that's great because he really did try to send her off to a nunnery, saying she was his brother's proper wife, legitimate wife, and that's why he couldn't have a son, which is ridiculous. If you know anything about genetics, and you'll see why I make that statement here in just a second. Because when I was doing some research, I came across some information, and I'm like, well, that explains a lot. So, actually, I'm just going to skip down and talk about the genetics for a second, since I brought it up. So, here's the funny thing. Catherine has a lot of history within the War of the Roses and the Tudor line because her great-grandmother was Catherine of Lancaster of England. So, if you don't know, the War of the Roses that was ended by Henry's parents was between the houses of York and the House of Lancaster. And the House of Lancaster is actually Henry's father's side. The House of York was Henry's mother's side. And so, like, this young dynasty only happened because they were trying to end this feud between the two sides of House of York, House of Lancaster, and for there to be legitimacy for Henry VII, Henry's father, and his children in terms of rank, station, whatever. And there were still questions being called up because of throughout time, we even see, which is why Henry had such a big push to have a male heir in terms of his dynasty, when he would have been better suiting training his daughters to get along, but that's a whole nother conversation. Give or take. But it, so, yeah. And so there was some incentive for Henry VII to marry a Lancaster distant relative into the house to give even more blood persuasion, because there was some doubt over his parentage, whether he was really a direct descendant and heir to the throne as much as his wife was. So there, which is why he married her in the first place, and wasn't part of the consternation of all the family's sons. So all that to say, though, is Catherine of Aragon's great-grandmother was a Lancaster. Now, not only that, but on her father's side, let's see. On her father's side, she was related to Henry II of England, and on her mother's side, she was related to Edward III. So she had like a lot of genetics that could be playing up. If they had hit in the right combination of genetics, as somebody who likes to study genetics and know about these things, it very well could be that the reason Henry and Catherine could not have children together is because they didn't, hold on, maybe I did something weird here. Give me 1 second. That maybe the reason that they could not have a male heir last until past just a few days is the fact that there might have been the right combination of genetics that between them that prevented that from happening. And there are diseases that very well could be related to, but because they didn't have that, we won't know. And the fact that legitimately they could have not had kids because there was issue, genetically speaking, of them having kids is kind of insane to me, because I didn't realize, for some reason, I didn't know she had Lancastrian roots, but that would have made her more appealing to Henry, because that would have put more blood in his family line and given his descendants more right to be a royal, if you will, and help with the issue of them not being royal enough, basically, because at this point, because of all the feuding, there wasn't a whole lot of pure Lancasters or pure Yorks left, and so everybody was claiming, hey, I have a little bit more here, or I have a little bit more than you. And so in order to bolster his, having a Lancaster princess would definitely help if that married one of whoever his heir was. However, again, I go back to the fact that due to the closeness of genetics, it could have actually been causing a lot of the problems, because different combinations can cause genetic defects that lead to stillborn births. It leads to all of these things. And so the fact of the matter is, what they thought was good in terms of that sort of side could have actually been their downfall when it comes to giving birth to an heir, essentially. And so just looking, like I said, at it from an initial standpoint without actually knowing what the combination of genetics was, my mind kind of goes there. And so I feel so bad for Catherine of Aragon, because literally this woman did everything right. She even ran the country when Henry was in France and another war broke out with Scotland, and they were both fighting wars, her being heavily pregnant one of the times. And here she was, doing everything she could to help build her new country. And he tries to put all the blame on her for not being able to produce a male heir. And that included her having crazy, insane pregnancies. And these are the ones that we know about. And I wonder if there weren't more a little bit, because one of the pregnancies we only know about because there's one letter where she was pregnant, briefly mentioned by Wolsey, the cardinal, and then the next month it said she no longer had child. So again, it's just kind of crazy when you think about it. Like, were there more we didn't know about? Because there is the potential for that. And so it kind of makes me wonder. But what we do know is that her first daughter miscarried at 6 months, just shortly a year into their marriage. And the story of this one's really heartbreaking, because she was told that while one of the children died, she was pregnant with twins. She was told she was pregnant with twins, and that one of the children had died, but that the other one was still alive. So she carried at least till 6 months before they knew for sure there wasn't actually a child that was going to come out of that pregnancy. And so I can't imagine, it's essentially losing two if only she only had one. And I can only imagine the heartbreak she went through there. Then she had a son, her first son, that actually lived, and he was named Henry, Duke of Cornwall. And he only lived just over a month and then just suddenly died. It may have been SIDS, it could have been something else, but like, so your first pregnancy, you think you have twins, one died, but one was going to make it. Turns out it was a daughter, and she didn't make it. Then you have your first son born, all the pageantry that goes with that. You go through the big announcement, and he dies just suddenly for no reason, as far as they know. Then she would have two more sons that were miscarried or stillborn. One in 1513, which that one probably was due to having to ride out to war against Scotland. And then the second one in 1514, that's the one that was mentioned in Wolsey's letters. Then then she gives birth to the one that survives, Mary, the future Queen of England, also known as Bloody Mary, and then has yet another daughter born, just 2 years after her first daughter was born, and that daughter was a stillborn. So she never had a spare. So, like, hear me, this woman, like, the one thing of to be as a queen in that time is you got to give birth to a heir and a spare, and she's having all these problems. And again, I really do wonder if it wasn't their genetic combination, for lack of a better word. So I feel really bad for her, but I love her song. Her song in the musical is No Way, where she's like standing up to Henry, and absolute, like, let's see here. Let me find my lines again that I put it down. My favorite line is probably, so you read a Bible verse, you say that I'm cursed because I'm your brother's wife. It's a pity that quoting Leviticus that I'll end up kittyless all my life. Well, Daddy, weren't you there when I gave birth to Mary? Hi, baby. And I mean, talk about a comeback. Like, absolutely. And so I just really like the song No Way, because it really is empowering, of like seeing her kind of take it back in a more direct way, when a lot of her life she had to be kind of subtle and quiet about how she played the political game. But this is a woman who, like, funded academics. This is a woman who funded women academics. This is a woman who was as much of a politician as she was a princess. And here she is at the end of her life, and most people only remember her for that part of her life when she did so many amazing things. And so I really, my hat's off to her for something that probably literally was just straight up genetics. And man, like her life could have been so different. Um, Sorry, I kind of got off on my little rant about Catherine of Aragon. Because again, I think they were too genetically related. But that's a whole nother conversation. Because I could go much longer. But when you get around to this part, you're going to slip stitch into this top stitch, but you are carrying your yarn, this single crochet, and hear me, it's a little tight. I'm going to put a warning at the beginning reminding you guys, crochet of this row to crochet loose in your single crochets, especially the first one. Now, when you carry yarn up, you put it over the hook, but you before you pull the slip stitch through, like that, just to kind of give it that little bit of security, and also make sure helps you to carry it up as you go. Next up, you are going to do, so what you're going to do is you're going to half double crochet in the first 2 stitches. So let's see, you're going to chain 2, and again it doesn't count, but you're going to half double crochet in this stitch. Then you are going to half double crochet here. So this is where we get to the fun part. So we did a half double crochet there. Now we are going to go into these skip stitches that there should be 2 of behind this, right? You've got, I'm trying to show you better if I can. Bear with me, guys. So you skipped 1, 2. Sorry, it's a little tight right here for you to see it. You skipped 2 stitches, so you're going to go into you're going to crochet over the single chain. So make sure, again, this is really tight. I did this so tight at the beginning. I'm sorry, because you're not going to be able to see it as well. And then you're going to go into these 2 stitches back here. And you're going to do a double crochet in both. So 1, and 2. So basically, if you can see what I'm doing, is I did a half double crochet in the top of the single crochet, and then I did a half double crochet in the top of this double crochet right here, and then I went over the chain 1 space, and I went into the 2 skip stitches and did a double crochet in each. So you're going to end up hiding that chain 1. Now you are going to half double crochet in this double crochet right here. So again, you did a double crochet in the single crochet, you did a half double crochet in the first double crochet, you did a double crochet in the next 2 stitches that were skipped from the previous row, then you did a half double crochet in this stitch. So what you're going to do now is you're going to do a half double crochet in our single crochet. You're going to do a half double crochet in the double crochet, And then you're going to come back here, and you're going to go here and do the first of the double crochets. 1. Then you're going to come over here and go down here into this stitch, skip stitch, do a double crochet. Like I said, stitch loose. I will put a reminder at the beginning of the previous row so that you don't make it harder on yourself. And then don't skip this. Put a half double crochet here. Because basically what you're doing is you're setting up this so you actually can see in between, in theory, your diamonds. The better placement definitely helps. You'll see what I mean as you go. But we're doing this row right here that will be help create the backdrop for the next row. So you just continue that around and I will see you on the other side. Alright guys, so we did that all around and you can start to see how we get to these diamonds, right? You can start to see that bottom half of the diamond forming. I feel like I did a little bit better of job since this was the first attempt. I feel like I did a little bit of a better job of making it plain here. Sorry guys, I don't mean to bump you like that. But now you're going to slip stitch into the top of that first half double crochet. So we're right here. We're going here. You're going to put your gold yarn over, but you're not going to pull that one through. You're going to yarn over the black and pull that all the way through. Now, you're going to chain 1. As always, it does not count. You are going to do 2 single crochets in this stitch. We're both increasing, but we are also going to be finishing off this half of the diamond. So you're going to do 2 single crochets in this first stitch. Then you are going to single crochet in the next 2 stitches. So you're going to single crochet in the half double crochet that was done here. That was done at the top of this stitch. And then you're going to half double crochet into the first of the 2 double crochets. And then you're going to change color. So when we're doing what we're about to do, you're going to go to your left first, and then you'll do your right. So you're going to skip the left on this one and go, and you're going to front post double crochet around this stitch. So a front post is where you go from the front, back, front, and it's a little tight because, guys, you've already crocheted in and around it, but you're going to yarn over, put your hook from the front to the back to the front around this post. Black, behave, please. And yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 2, yarn over, go through 2, and then now you're going to go back and front post double in the skipped stitch. This is where it gets a little tricky, guys, because you're going back and you're going through so many layers. This is why I am now saying make sure. I forgot to tell this to myself, and I'm writing it in my notes for future work. But this is one of those where you've got to crochet loose a little bit. You do not want really tight stitches. And we've got our, let's see. Now you're going to change to color A here. This is where like it gets a little complicated, right? Because you're managing strings and making sure your count's right and all of that. You're going to skip the 2 in the back, right? You're going to skip these 2 because those are now those 2. And then you are going to single crochet 2 single crochets in the next stitch, which should be this one right here, right? I'm trying to show you guys. And so you're going to skip 2, which is 1, 2, and then you're going to do 2 single crochets in the next stitch, which should be the one that from the previous row had been in a single crochet in between the 2 gold ones here, right? So you're going to do 2 single crochets here, and again, don't be firm, but not too firm. As you're crocheting this, you're going to do 2 single crochets there, single crochet, change to your color B. Wait, inside to color B. Again, this is kind of tricky and finicky, but it's so worth it, guys. So you're going to yarn over, go over here, front post double crochet around this post. Yay! And then we are going to front double crochet around this post. Sometimes this is the side that always makes it interesting, guys. So that is something to note when you're doing that row in terms of trying to make sure it's done right. Be aware of how tight you're crocheting. And then you're going to change to color A. And then you're going to skip 2. And you're going to do 2 single crochets here. And again, these do pull up a little bit straighter once you get another stitch in them, but just continue this on around and I will see you as we go. So when you get back over here, you're not going to, because when you skip 2, you're at this stitch, so you're going to slip stitch into the first single crochet that you made for this row. Oh, but you are going to carry the yarn, so make sure you yarn over with your gold, yarn over and pull through with your black. So now you can see that first little bit of the diamonds being created, right? So we've got that done, and now we're on to row 7. In row 7, oh no, sorry, we're in row 6. Hello. We are in row 7. Guys, bear with me. you're going to chain 2 and half double crochet in each stitch around. Okay. Oh, wait. I made one mistake here. And I didn't add it. Okay guys, back up just a hair. Here. I forgot to write this into the pattern correctly. You are going to slip stitch through with that, but the one that you're going to carry the yarn up is the black. And you are going to pull through with the gold. I was like, that doesn't look great. And it didn't, because we are going to now do the gold round. So we are now doing this piece. Okay. So in order to do that, like I said, you yarn over with the black, but you don't pull it through. You pull the gold through. But you still want to have the gold or the black carry right here. But then when you pull through with the gold. Now then, we are going to change to, we're going to not change to, chain 2 and 2 half double crochet in every stitch around. So 1, 2, and you keep going. I will see you when we get back over here. Quick note, guys, when you get to the gold, don't forget to go into that there's 2 stitches here. Sometimes it can easily feel like there's 1, but you need to make sure you go into both stitches right there. Okay? It's what's going to anchor that down. It's going to, honestly, especially when we get to the bigger one, it will definitely give it more of the diamond feel. This is really tight and really close because it is the smaller of the 2. And so it's going to feel like it should only be 1 right there, but it needs to be 2. When I got there, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. So came to just share that little piece with you, and we will see you this time when we do get back over here. Bye. Alright, and we are back over here. So we have done all of that, and this should be 84 stitches. So I'm going to do a quick count here. That one does not count. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 2, 4, 40, 2, 4, 6, 8, 4, 6, 8, 284. So now when you get over here, just like how we did it down here where we did that kind of interesting color change, we're going to do that here. So what's going to happen is you're going to insert to the top of the first half double crochet, not the chains, the half. And instead of pulling up with gold, you're going to pull up with black. So go ahead but make sure your gold is over your black hook, over your hook, so that it gets pulled up too. See, just like that. And we're ready for the next row, which will be continued on the next video because we are at about an hour already on time, guys, and trying to upload a video more than an hour is really difficult. So I'm going to make this into 2 parts. Hopefully we'll be able to get the ruffle and the back done in the next video. If not, we'll do this in 3 parts and it'll come out on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. We will see. But as of right now, I'm going to be putting this first part out on Monday morning to get you started. I don't know if my talk and babble got us so much time, but I will see you on the second one. Guys, I love you. If you do want to see the rest of this, feel free to hit subscribe so you'll get notifications. Turn that like bell or that notification bell on. And if you really enjoy this, feel free to flutter onto that like button. And I will see you guys in the next one. Love y'all. Bye.